Today's video is going to be all about this little thing, the redstone comparator. We're not just going to go over how it works because I can just cover that in like 5 minutes or so, but we're also going to be covering the different circuits it can be used in, how we can compare them with other signal strengths. Red coders, memory adders, counters, panels, memory, lots of fun stuff. I said memory twice, kind of ironic, right? Doesn't matter. So anyway, how the heck does the actual redstone comparator work? So in this little setup, in this little white boxes that I have here, we have the 4 main functions of a comparator. It can take signal strengths from containers like chests, hoppers, droppers, furnaces, basically anything that can hold an inventory of items. It can take signal strengths from other pieces of redstone dust. It can compare different signal strengths from the inputs in the back and the side, and it can subtract different signal strengths from the back and the side. So first, what is this container chest array thing we have here? So if you just observe all the different redstone dusts, as you can see, they're all at different brightnesses, dimnesses, whatever you want to call it, because they're at different signal strengths. So what is signal strength? So if we go into F3, and if you go to the right side of the F3 screen where it says the targeted block, where it says I'm pointing at the redstone wire, it says it has a power of 1. And what that means is that the redstone will only travel 1 block. So this is 1 block and it's off. It just doesn't go anymore. This is a signal strength of 2, so it'll go 2 blocks and then it gives up on life. So how do we get these different signal strengths? Well, it's actually a pretty easily repeatable pattern with at least chests. This is the easiest pattern of container signal strength stuff that I know of. So if we want a signal strength of 1, you put 1 packing peanut in there, as in you put one stackable item in there, and boom, signal strength of 1. If you want a signal strength of 2, you can put 2 non-stackable items, as in shovels. You can't stack them. I'm clicking so hard I can't stack the shovels. So 2 non-stackable items equals a signal strength of 2. And if you want to go up 1 signal strength, boom, just add 2 more. 2 more is all you need. And yeah, that's it. That's the repeating pattern. If you want 1 more signal strength, you just add 2 more non-stackable items. It's consistent all the way up to signal strength of 15. So there we go. Now we have 10. Now we have 12, 14, 16, 18 shovels. And then over here, 15. So if you fill the entire container, chest, furnace, whatever it is, like you fill every single slot and you can't put anything back in there, then boom, you get a signal strength of 15. So that is how you get different signal strengths out of chests. So now actually the main functions of a comparator, to compare signals. So the main input on the back, it can basically all it does, it takes this signal strength and it outputs that exact same signal strength. So this lectern is on page 1, so it's giving a signal strength of 1. I don't know, go to a random page like page 4. This is a signal strength of 4. And it will output a signal strength of 4, as you can see by, oh my god, that was a weird lag spike, by the 4 lamps over here. And we get, I don't know, signal strength of 7, boom, outputs a signal strength of 7 like that. So that's function number 2, I guess. Function number 3 is it can compare signals. So if we go back here, we have a signal strength of 8, indicated by, page 8. And then over here, signal strength of 9. 9 is greater than 8, so the output will be off. If the side signal strength is the same as the back, it will output what the back signal strength is. So the back is inputting a signal strength of 8, so it will output a signal strength of 8. If the side and the back are the same, it will output something. But if it's more, then it will just turn off. So here's another example, signal strength of 5, and we take this to, I don't know, signal strength of 3. 3 is less than 5, so it won't output anything. Then last but not least, the subtract mode, which you do by just right-clicking that like that. So how does subtract mode work? Well, it does exactly what you think it does. It subtracts the side from the back. So it's the back signal strength minus the side. So if we just look in these lecterns, page 11, so the back is giving a signal strength of 11. So that's 11 minus 6. And if we just look at how many lamps are powered, boom, signal strength of 5. Basic subtraction, it's exactly what you think it is. I don't know, let's just do one more example. Signal strength of 7. 7 minus 2 gives a signal strength of 5 again. Okay, then I did that by accident. But yeah, it just subtracts the back by the side. So that's how it works. Now let's go over its uses, because that's what you're here for. You want to know how you apply these different functionalities into different circuits. So the first thing, I don't really know what to call these, so I'll just call these like, I don't know, item frame combination lock kind of things. Basically, the output will only turn on or off in the third case if it's at the correct signal strength. And I'm gonna just say this now, all of these things will work in Bedrock 2, except for one thing, which you do have to make slight changes, but all of these circuits will work on Bedrock, so just saying that now. And things with target blocks or other things that I say will only work in 1.16, I'll mention that. So let's just go through all of these. So first design by Mumbo Jumbo. Basically how it works is, let's say we have a signal strength of 15. Oh no, nothing happens. Signal strength of 11, we have a lamp. If we go under, and the light turns off. So how does this work? So over here we have a signal strength of 10 in this chest, and back here we have a signal strength of, let's just switch it to 11. So 11 minus 10 equals 1. So it will give 1 signal strength over here, and that signal will also go through into this comparator powering the lamp. But if we go over, so if we go to a signal strength of 12, 12 minus 10 equals 2. So now it will power this repeater, which the side is now greater than the back, and it will just completely shut off this comparator, shutting off the signal over here. So that's basically how all of these work, so I'm just going to explain it once, but they all do it in slightly different ways, so that's Mumbo's design. Now we have my design, which is technically smaller. If we remove the lamps, you still have the chest counting in the volume, but you know, my lamp is in a completely new layer, so mine is technically smaller. So my design, same thing. If it's at a signal strength of 11, it will power the lamp. So same thing happens. 11 minus 10 gives a signal strength of 1, signal goes through. But if we go over, it will shut off this comparator because we have a repeater here. So there we go, just copy that. And then last but not least, we have a 1.16 design that will do the opposite. So instead of turning, oh, let me just turn this off. Instead of turning on when we hit the right signal strength, it will turn off. So this is just a NOT gate basically. So if we're at a signal strength of 11, as you can see, the lamp turns off. But if we're at a signal strength of lower, or like 11 or lower, boom, signal strength, well, output turns on. We get the lamp. So yeah, this design also really easy. We use the target block to redirect this dust towards the torch. So if it's at a signal strength of 1 here, torch turns off, it goes over, the repeater will then turn on the lamp again. So there we go, just copy that if you want to build it. So those are item frame combination lock decoder, whatever you want to call them. Next thing we have is things that compare signal strengths. So what I mean by that, as you can see, one lamp is on. Now why is that? And if we look at these lecterns, this is at a signal strength of 7, and this is at a signal strength of 5. So whatever the greatest signal strength is, it will output that. So this is useful for, I don't know, rock, paper, scissors. That's what I use this circuit for, and I use this bigger version of the circuit in my NumBot neural network thing. So how does this work? So if we just follow the signal of this signal strength of 7, it goes here, through this block, through this other comparator, and into this lamp. But it also goes to the side, into this comparator, which is taking the input from this comparator. Because this is a greater signal strength, so this is 7, this is 5, this comparator will just completely shut off. So now what if we have the opposite case? So this is a signal strength of 4, and this is 5 now, and that turns on. So what's happening here? So we follow the signal, it goes here, through this block, and it goes through this comparator. Because this is a greater signal strength than the back, it will shut off this comparator. So yeah, that is how you compare two signals and say which one's the greatest. And now here's another design by Mark F, which I used in my NumBot neural network like I said. This compares more than 2. You can technically have infinite if you really want to. It'll just take a lot of delay. So if we just flick this lever, this is the furthest from the lamp, so it gives the weakest signal strength. We power, I don't know, 2 of these, like that. If we power a lever closer to the lamp, it will give a stronger signal strength and override those 2 lamps. So, boom, and those 2 lamps, they turn off. And I don't know, you can just do this or something. But if you want to override this, and you just turn on this lever, like that, and those 2 lamps override and turn off. You can extend this redstone line up to 15, so this line is the input, and you can just extend that up to 15 long. This is just 3 long just to show. This thing also works backwards, so if you turn off the strongest one, the next 2 that were in line to the strongest will also just turn on now. And you just do this, and you do this, and boom, the weakest ones will now turn on, and now you can turn those off. So how do you build this? Just gonna briefly go over it. We have our lamps over here, like that. Each comparator is pointing into a lamp and has a piece of redstone dust next to it. There's also a block under this lamp, and we have a comparator and redstone trail traveling to one side, doesn't matter which side it is. Goes into this comparator over here, powers this block. This redstone dust, that redstone dust powers this block. And then we have a comparator chain over here of comparators and blocks. And if we just go over here, we have comparators going into these pieces of redstone. So we have the redstone dust behind those comparators that are being powered by these bottom comparators. So I hope that was enough to make you be able to build that. I don't know, let me just fly around a bit so you can get a better idea of, how to build this. The lime is the input, you need to cut off the signal. Okay, I think that's enough. Next circuit, we have the red coder. Now this has been used in lots of things, and the classic design has been broken because we're in 1.16, so I'm showing what's going to work in the latest version. So, over here, we have two designs. This is a 1.16 one that Mumbo Jumbo made in his target block video. I mean, it's pretty simple. Someone could have come across the same design, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, if we just flip to a random page, like page 4, the fourth output will turn on. We go to page 3, the third one will turn on. We go to page 5. Well, I don't know, that's 6, all of them turn off. There we go. Page 5, the fifth one turns on. You get the idea. So how this works is this top line is basically one signal strength behind the bottom line. So if we go here, this first dust that powers through into the torches is on, but this dust is not. But it technically is because the new redirect thing, so that's why we have this thing that subtracts this comparator, but just ignore that, confusing. So let's just go down to page 2. As you can see, this top line is at the first part, but the second line is at the second part. So if we just follow this signal will go over here. These two torches will turn off. That was a weird voice crack. These two torches will turn off, but this will also be off, so this torch will turn on. And this top one, it will turn off this because it's being activated. Really easy to build, just put torches. This can be up to 15 long. You want to put redstone one block away like that. Comparator on subtract mode comparator here. Signal strength of 1 over here, so a chest with one block or any really container with one item. And then repeaters here under these torches, target blocks with redstone torches. And then behind that we have redstone dust. Really simple red coder. And then the input is this comparator into this block. And now we have this design, which has been around forever and ever. I don't really know who made it. I want to say Cube Hamster because I saw a really old video where he used this design, but I'm not really sure. But this thing still works in 1.15, as you can see. There we go. I don't know, what's that? I can't count. The fifth output is turned on. We can go back. Fourth one is turned on. It's really simple, uses the exact same concept. So we have torches over here, repeaters, redstone dust like this, and then this piece of redstone goes back. We have this block and more redstone down here, more repeaters going into blocks with torches. So those are the red coders. Next up, we have circuits that manipulate the signal strength based off of the different inputs we give it. So the first one of these circuits is a design by Cass, which is his channel is Mezuma Games. I'll link that in the description, and I guess I'll link Mumbo Jumbos, but you should be able to find that on your own. So this is a design by Cass, otherwise known as Mezuma Games on YouTube, and what it does, it's pretty interesting. It inverts the redstone signal. So what I mean by that is, let's say this signal strength here is a signal strength of 1. It goes through here, and if we look at what the output is with our F3 screen, it gives out a signal strength of 14. So basically, the output plus the input equals 15. Now you can change the sum to whatever you want, and to control that is this chest over here. So this is a signal strength of 15. So output plus input equals whatever this chest is giving off. If this was a signal strength of 10, then whatever this is plus this will equal 10 all the time. This is also toggleable, so if you flick this lever, now it will actually give whatever signal strength is inputted. So signal strength of 1 now instead of what it was, 14. There we go. So let's just turn it on again. So if we take, I don't know, signal strength of 4, and if we just F3 over here, 11 plus 4 equals this chest, which is 15. So how do you build this? You know, I'll just fly over it like that. Piece of dust over here, there's a torch. If you want to attach a repeater, it has to be a repeater input, so there we go. You can extend the signal however you want. You can chain these together too, so that's pretty cool. I use this in my calculator, my mapulator, to do subtraction, because this is useful for subtraction. Speaking of subtraction, we have a circuit that does the opposite. This is a signal strength adder. Don't really know who made it, but the person who showed me this design was a person named Red's Thunder, so I'm just going to say that it was made by him. I'm just going to assume it's made by him. If you know who this is made by, then tell me in the comments, I guess. But basically, this adds signal strength. So if we go in here, page 5, we go in here, page 4, so 4 plus 5 equals 9. Press F3, we look on the right. This is a signal strength of 9. So we can change that. We can just go, I know we have 1 here, and what's this again? 4 plus 1 equals 5. There we go. Signal strength adder. Now the way this works is basically we have, I don't really know how it works, so I'm just going to try my best. We just have a lot of subtraction going. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of subtraction. Basically, these signals kind of get inverted, and then they get inverted again by this torch, and they add together. I don't really know how it works, but if I just took a little bit more time, I could probably figure it out. But that is how you build it. Lots of comparators on subtract mode. You could also use redstone blocks here, but not here, because for some reason redstone blocks actually input comparators on the side, which is not a really good change. And now, this is the circuit that only works in Java to an extent. You can make this work on Bedrock really easily. So if I just fly over here and you can copy this design, all you have to do to make it work on Bedrock is set these to 3 ticks and put blocks in front. That's it. That's all you have to do. And the stuff that are in the droppers is a full dropper. This thing is completely full, and so is this, completely full. And then the other one is empty. So what is this even? I didn't really say what it was. So this is basically a signal strength counter that can add and subtract at the same time. So if we just push these buttons, we have also resets. So this is basically just a latch. So yeah, that's what that does. And each of both of these buttons will add and subtract at the same time. So if we push this button over here, okay, nothing happens, so I have to push this one. So if we push this button over here, as you can see, this has turned on. This has gone up by 1, so now it was from 0 to 1, and this has gone down by 1. It went from 15 to 14, and we can just continue doing that, and just push it a few times. So now this is 12, and this is 3. You can also reset it by pushing either one of the buttons, just like that. It's a really cool thing. It's a signal strength counter, so if you want to build it, yeah, button, 2-tick repeater, 2 droppers facing into each other. Comparators in subtract mode. Make sure these are droppers, not dispensers. Better not see someone commenting that this doesn't work. And now we're almost done. This video is actually a lot shorter than I thought, to be honest. We have our second last type of circuit over here. None of these are made by me, but I'll say who they are made from later. Basically, I categorize them as turning other things into signal. So turning signal strength into other things, like number of pulses, or turning inputs into signal strength. Basically turning something into something related to signal strength. So first we have this pulse multiplier by, again, Cass from Mezuma Games. And this is probably one of the coolest pulse multipliers ever, just period. Basically what this does, let's just say we flip to a random page, I don't know, page 7, and if we just, let me make sure this is empty, push this button, stuff happens, there's a clock, and then when it all stops, we get 7 items. We get exactly the number of pulses as the signal strength that we put into it. It's a really cool circuit. So the actual circuit, this is just the input. All you have to do to actually like make it not like this is, I don't know, just pretend that's a piece of redstone. You put redstone here, you put, I don't know, button pulses, whatever, wherever blocks these are going into that comparator. The one downside to this system is that these have to be stone button pulses, otherwise the timing kind of gets messed up. But this thing is a really cool circuit made by, like I said, Maizuma Games, the legend. So this is what it is. It's just a 3x3 area really, and just 3 comparators. So there we go, look at that. And then the output is this block over here going into whatever you want. And now we have a button panel, but I'm using levers just to make it easier to show. A button panel made by Melon BP. So what this thing does, he also has a channel, doesn't upload much, but I'll link it anyway. Basically what this does, it takes these inputs and it turns them into a different signal strength. And you can just combine this with a red coder, and then you can get a different output whichever lever you flick in a really easy, compact way. So if we just flick this top left lever, so imagine this is a number pad, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we go over here, as you can see, we get a signal strength of 1 because 1 lamp is activated. If we activate on number 5, 5 lamps are going to be activated. If we get 7 lamps are activated. Basically, whatever number the keypad is in, it will give that signal strength. So how do you build this? Pretty simple. You have a 3x3, you put buttons, levers, whatever you want your input to be. So you have a line of redstone here, you have a comparator, piece of redstone, and then you have a comparator 1 block down, and then dust, and now we're at the second level, so the levers of the second level should be powering these pieces of redstone. So it's like a spiral pattern. It goes down here, then through here, then down here, then more stuff and more stuff. And there we go. And then we have a furnace, not a chest, because furnaces are solid blocks, so we can actually put this comparator on top. And this is on subtract mode, and the contents of this furnace, there we go, you can check that. So yeah, that is the keypad. And now last but not least, we have signal strength memory. Now this is probably one of the most interesting comparator circuits you can make, because you can store different kinds of signal strengths and use them along with the various other circuits that we mentioned earlier in this video. So this is a memory cell over here. As you can see, it's an infinite loop of redstone signal and comparator. So if we just pull up F3, as you can see, we are storing a signal strength of 8. Now this looks really similar to a pulse extender, but the thing that's different is that we have a block on both sides, so it gets stuck in an infinite loop, and one of the comparators are in subtract mode. Now the way you just get rid of this loop is you power one of the comparators, well, hold on, this one. Okay, right, forgot, comparators don't work like that. You just power one of the comparators, and it breaks the loop like that. Now you can use that to make one of these, which is a shift register. So over here we have a lectern without a comparator because for other purposes. So we are on, let's just choose some random page. Okay, page 9, why not? We just slap our comparator down here and we just break that. There we go. So now we have a signal strength of 9 stored in this memory cell over here. The cool thing is you can shift that value over by flicking this lever. The value has now shifted to the next cell, and now this has a signal strength of 9. So now you can store a different signal strength in here. So let's say you want to store a signal strength of 13. So now we have a signal strength of 13 over here and a signal strength of 9. And if we just shift that over, boom, all gets shifted over. Now we have 13 over here and a signal strength of 9 over here. It's a really cool system. So now what if you go below, there we go, we have 9 again. Actually, let's just do 8. So now the 9 is just going to disappear, 13 is going to take its place, and then 9 is going to go here. There we go. So if we just do that, we have a signal strength of 8, 13, and 9. And that's going to become 0, 8, and 13. So flick this lever, nothing here, and now we have 8 and 13. So that is the demonstration of the memory modules. Now let's just shift this out of existence. There we go. And now it's empty. And you can also just reset it by holding the pulse long enough, and then the signal will just go through all the cells. So you can make this as long as this redstone dust will allow, so you just have to keep in mind you have to use some instant repeaters. A very special type of instant repeater that can actually carry a 2-tick pulse, because the normal one can't do that. So how this works is we have our memory cells over here, and we have repeaters powering those subtract mode comparators. And we also have torches powering these subtract mode comparators that carry the signal along. Basically, what these redstone dust powering these comparators do is it prevents the signal from going to the next memory module without you actually giving it the pulse. And what this repeater does is that it shuts off this memory module. So if we give a short pulse to this torch and these repeaters at the same time, basically what it does, this torch turns off, the memory module, the signal strength that was stored here, carries onto the next one, and then this module gets shut off by this repeater. So how am I going to demonstrate this? So we have a comparator here, we have a signal strength of 8, so if we can just see what's happening, you're going to see it transfer over, and then this will shut off. So let's see if you can see that. There we go. This has transferred, so now it's going to the second one, and this has shut off. So now, how do we build this one? This one is a little bit tricky. Should I give a block per block? No, I won't give a block per block. So what you do is you just repeat these little memory modules here, subtract mode on the side where the repeater is going to be, block, dust, and then do that. So this formation, one of them on subtract mode, and then you want to put a comparator coming from the piece of dust. Make sure it's the dust, not the block. I've recorded an earlier thing where I got in the wrong orientation and it just didn't work. So subtract mode going into a block into the next memory module, then subtract mode into the next memory module. Really easy stuff to figure out. And then over here, on these comparators that don't have a comparator next to them, that are passing the signal along, you want to put redstone dust next to it, and redstone dust next to that. And then in these comparators in subtract mode that are part of the memory module, you want to put a repeater and repeater. And now to link it up, you just put a torch above like that, put a block behind with a piece of dust, and you just make this little M pattern like that. And then the way you activate it is you give it a 2-tick pulse. So that can be from an observer, that can be from a classic piston monostable, but it has to be a 2-tick pulse. I'm pretty sure any longer will make it skip ahead a few modules. So yeah, that's basically it. Memory. Whatever this category is. Stuff that manipulates red coders, comparing signals, item frame stuff. I hope you did enjoy this video. I'm not going to give a world download of this because last time I tried giving a world download of this world, I couldn't actually send it through Discord. This file was too fat. So no world download, unfortunately. And all of these will work on Bedrock, and all of these, except for the ones that use the target blocks, will work in 1.15 versions and lower, but all of these will work in 1.16, as you saw in this video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, learned some stuff about comparator mechanics, and now I'm gonna throw stuff at the camera. So yeah, goodbye.